In this video, I want to show you how to master the Cho'Gath Bruiser comp. So I basically played this in about 80% in my last 30 and 40 games, and I climbed about 300 LP and got myself that master spot. So yeah, I'm gonna show you everything that I learned, all from what portal you should take, what legends, units, augments, all of those shenanigans, and I'm leaving timestamps for it as well if you want to skip around. But kicking it off, before you even get to the game, you need to choose a legend, right? So what I figured what's the best is use Twisted Fate, because BIS items, you know, the best in slot items, are really important in this comp. If you look at you know, the delta here on each item, so delta is basically the lower placement you get. So if you build a Dragon Claw, you get half a placement lower. The same goes for Redemption and Bramble. Meanwhile, all the other items, it gives you a higher placement. So items are really important in this comp, right? So that's why we go for Twisted Fate, because then you always get these augments, Pandora's items. And what Pandora's item does is it randomizes your components and items on your bench. So if you just always go for BIS items, you're gonna get it for free, right? Even if you're unlucky with the item drops in minion rounds and all that. And that's it for the legends. So on to portals. Obviously it's not gonna be the most determining factor what portal you stand on in the beginning, because it's 1 of 8 chance that you get it. But still, I figured I'll mention it in the video, because it's a huge difference from getting a good portal and getting a bad portal in this comp, right? So we can just start off by every portal that gives you items or components are obviously gonna be good in this comp, right? And why? It's because you play Twisted Fate, so you're gonna be able to get the best in slot items with the Pandora's items. Meanwhile, other people are just gonna get random items, so it's gonna be really good. Take for example Heart Home right here. You upgrade one of your items into a Radiant version. So basically, just imagine you of course you get a Dragon Claw because you are Twisted Fate, and then you're gonna upgrade this Dragon's Claw into Dragon's Will, the Radiant version. So every 2 seconds, Cho'Gath is gonna heal 10% of his max health, and like Cho'Gath is probably gonna have you know, 5k HP or 10k HP. Let's say he has 5k HP, he's regening like 500 HP every 2 seconds. Kinda crazy, right? And other than that, there's a lot of other item ones, like let's see, the Iron Mount. You get 3 component anvis at the start of the game. So if you open them up and you don't find the component you're looking for, it just gets re-rolled into other items with the Pandora's bench, right? Really good stuff. And something I found was really good as well is like Rat Town. You get these lucky shops where you just get all the units that you're looking for. So it's really good. You just 3-star everything a lot easier as well. And this is another one that's really good as well, the Food Fight Tactics. You gain a spatula, and the units next to the spatula gets 20 permanent health, which is gonna scale really good with bruisers, because it basically gives you 60% more HP. So you see, you're gonna get a lot more value from that than other people get, because they don't have bruisers. So I'm not gonna bore you with every single portal. I just figured you'll understand the drill of them, and then you can make your choice of what portal you're gonna take. But I can also mention some that are not really that good, I would say, like a Yumi Zoom Zone. When you buy XP, you get more, which is not that good, right? Because you want to stay low level and roll for your units, and you're never really buying XP in until the late game, so other people are gonna get value from this, meanwhile you're not gonna get value from it. And here we have another one, the summit. So you get a champion duplicator at start of each stage, which you're playing a reroll comp, so it's obviously gonna be good to get champion duplicators, right? So yeah, that's a good one. And if we look above it, we have Marcus Omignum, I guess it's pronounced like that. I figure this is not as good, right? You get a tactician's crown, so you're staying low level, you're re-rolling for your units, which is gonna mean that you're gonna get lower tier units, right? Meanwhile, other people are leveling up and they're putting in 4 and 5 costs with their tactician's crown, so they just are able to fit in better units than, you know, you who are maybe level 5 or level 6. So taking this, it's like shooting yourself in the foot. So just think of what benefits you and you know, the opposite when you choose these portals. So let's talk a bit about what augments you should take. So in pretty much every game I took Pandora's items with Twisted Fate. There was a few exceptions where I didn't take it, and it was like if I got, you know, Titanic Strength, I didn't take it because, I mean, this is just so much damage. Bruisers get attack damage based on their HP. It's just gonna be really good with, you know, Bruisers. So this is like an always take augment, Titanic Strength. And another augment I pretty much always took was endurance training. This is really broken. So your units permanently gain health every time they kill an enemy, and that's just good, but it's especially good since you have Bruisers. So it says 18 health, but then you get 60% more health, so it's like 30 or something like that. I don't know, my math isn't that good, but you get the deal. And what to note here, if you're gonna take endurance training, you should carry Rek'Sai as well, because he's a frontline unit and it's gonna scale really good with that HP. You also build Stark's Gauge, which scales with HP on Rek'Sai, and then you also build Bloodthirster, which gets you a HP based shield. So it makes a lot of sense to go for Rek'Sai carry, as well as Cho'Gath, of course. You can also have a backline carry like Cassio and Kale, but I will go into it more later. But if you take this augment, carry Rek'Sai. So basically all the scaling augments are really good in this comp. Another one is early education. So it's basically the same as the other augment I just mentioned, but instead of getting HP when they kill units, they get AP. So this is basically gonna buff all your units, like Cho'Gath, everyone's ability if they get some kills, right? But mainly it's really good for Cassio, because you usually play Cassiopeia in this comp, and she's just gonna stack AP the entire game, and that's why this has a really good, you know, average placement. She just gets a lot of HP, as well as Cho'Gath. He also gets more HP, which means his ult does more damage, he gets more stack, and on, right? So these are pretty much my always take augments. Now I'm just gonna go into some of the more S tier augments as well. So anything that works or scales with HP is just gonna be broken, because Bruisers, right? So things like Martyr, when your unit dies, all your allies heal 10% of their maximum health, and you have so much HP on Cho'Gath, so it just heals infinite. Same story goes for Rejuvenating Flames. I think I got it there. So allies heal 8% of their max health every 5 seconds, even though you don't even play Ixtal, which gives you a 15%. It's still worth it, because you have so much HP that this 8% is a lot. You can see it has like the best win rate. I don't know, maybe this is even always take augment. Could be. Another one that's one of the better augments is Bruiser, Crest, Heart, or Crown. It's because it's pretty hard to get 6 Bruisers in some games. I mean, you're staying low level, you're rolling for show, all of that. And then you need to find a Scion in order to get 6 Bruisers, which you aren't gonna be able to get in all games. So what the Crown does is it allows you to play 6 Bruisers. And if you get a Scion later, just remove a Rek'Sai or a Vi. And you put the Bruiser Crown on perhaps a Belveth is good. You want the crown on a frontline unit so you get that value. It doesn't really make sense to put a Bruiser emblem on a Cassiopeia or such, because she's in the back line. You really want more frontline, so put it on a frontline unit if you can. For example, Belveth, right? Then you also get Void. And other than that, there's a lot of good augments. Just think of anything that works well with having a lot of HP. So Ascension is gonna be good, so you stay alive for a super long while, and then you're basically guaranteed for the Ascension to kick in, so it just makes sense. Unified Resistance is really good as well. It's because you have a lot of HP, and then you get more armor and MR on your frontline units, which just gives them a lot of more effective HP. Scales well, right? And surprisingly, I got surprised from this when I looked at the stats, but it makes sense. You will the Lotus, or at least you will Lotus 2 and 3, they're really good. It's because you can crit from your abilities, and it's of course good on like Rek'Sai, your Cassiopeia, all of that, but it also works really good on Cho'Gath. His ult does a lot of damage. It's gonna secure him a lot of more stacks, give him more kills, and does a lot of damage. So you see, it has a really good win rate as well. And anything that really buffs the stats on your units is gonna be good. So even if you're presented with Cybernetic Bulk, Leech, any of these, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. Just thought I mention it, because you don't always get the BIS augments right. And anything that also gives you items or components is good in stage 3 or the second or third augment, because you have Twisted Fate, so you can always get the BIS items. So that makes support augments or items that give, or augments that give support items really good as well, because you can choose what item you want with Twisted Fate, right? I'm gonna go over items more later, but since I talked about support items, I might as well go into it a little bit, right? So if we take a look at items here, let's see, others it should be, yeah. So there's a lot of pretty scuffed support items for the comp, like CC Rot isn't gonna be good. You spawn a Void Spawn, right? It's just doesn't fit in the comp. You already have too much frontline, you don't need this, it's just a waste. What you instead is good is things that scale with HP. So needlessly big gem, it's basically like an Ascension, and it gives you gold. If the holder is alive for 15 seconds, you get these bonuses. So obviously this fits amazing in the comp. And the best one is Virtue of the Martyr. Ooh, this is good stuff, right? So every 5 seconds you heal like 7% of your max health. Just imagine this with Bruiser and Cho'Gath, right? And the healing increases to 13% the max health, kinda crazy. When the holder dies, so you can put it on a unit that's in the middle next to Cho'Gath. So when it dies, Cho'Gath is the only tank left, and then he gets 13% max health healing and you just win the fight. It's really good. But more on to that later. So was there any more augments I would mention? I guess I can go into some situational augments as well. It's not often you're gonna take this, but in some cases it has saved my games. So impenetrable bulk fork, it gives you a bramble vest and a dragon claw and a giant's belt. So it's just cracked. It gives you the 2 best BIS items for Cho'Gath. So if you for any reason don't have items on show, usually itemize him first. But if you don't have it, this augment is really good. It has like super low win rate. It's because you just take it when you need it. So keep that in mind. Some other situational ones are like golden ticket. Let's say you haven't rolled down and you're at the second augment. You're really far away from hitting your units. Then you can take golden ticket. You just get all the free stars. It's something I don't think is that good. I usually like to take combat augments because I usually hit my units anyways. It's not that hard really to 3-star show. I 3-star him every game the last 30 games. I never did not 3-star him. It's not that hard. So I think it's a waste. I think there's better alternatives. But if you find yourself in that spot where you need to hit the units, take it. I think I got that game like 1 time. And another situational, it's not just for this comp, it's pretty much for any comp you play, is the golden egg. If you're really stable, you have a lot of HP, just take this augment and secure yourself a first place. That's pretty much it. Another situational augment you can take is stable evolution. Doesn't make that much sense really, because you go more into bruisers. You don't go 6 void in this comp that often. But if you have perhaps a Belveth carry or a Kaisa carry as well, it's gonna buff your Kaisa, it's gonna buff your Cho'Gath, and it's gonna buff your Rek'Sai. So it can be good to take in those cases when you play Kaisa and Belveth. Or just to, you know, if you don't have a red buff, take red buff, right? Because anti-heal is important and the burn is nice. The fights are gonna be really long as well, since you're so tanky. So you're gonna get a lot of burn value from this. And you have so many items you wanna build in this comp. So it's pretty hard sometimes to even fit in like a Sunfire. So this can be really good as well. But of course, I'm not gonna go into every single augment that exists in the game. I just figured I'll mention a few so you get the deal of what is good and what is not. So let's move on. Yeah, let's go into items then. So kicking it off with the star of the show, we have a show here. So you really only want 3 items on him. It's Dragon Claw, Redemption, and Bramble Vest. Basically, Bramble Vest gives you a lot of armor. Dragon's Claw gives a lot of MR. Boom, you have infinite resistances for every damage short. And then you also get a lot of HP scaling healing with Redemption, as well as Dragon Claw. They both just heal percentage HP and show he gets more HP from every unit he stacks on. So he gets so much HP and he gets all that regen and it's just broken. Lastly, Bramble also gives Cho'Gath damage when he gets crit. He does some damage around him. So that's also very nice. So moving on. You look at the... You either play Cassiopeia or you play... what's it called? Kale. But these are your backline carries. So you... on the Cassiopeia, you go for a blue buff. Because she has so low mana, it just works that good with her. She autos 1 or 2 times and then she casts again. So every unit that has below 30 or 40 mana, you always want a blue buff on them, and not a Sojin. And if they're a unit that has a lot of mana, like Rice, then you want a Sojin because it just works better. You see, she gets like one placement lower if you get blue buff, and she gets a higher placement even if you take a Sojin. And other than that, you just want damage items. So the best ones are probably Ice Angel, Giant Slayer, Yue Gauntlet. I think Hextech Gunblade is bad on Casio because you already have so much frontline. So why build an item that heals the frontline? It's just a waste of items, really. Let's say Cassiopeia deals 3000 damage. Gunblade's gonna heal a frontline unit 300 HP. It's basically nothing because your unit already has that much HP, so it doesn't make that much sense to go for that. You rather just build a damage item and a blue buff. And your support items, or not support items, but your aura items are pretty good as well. We have Ionic Spark and we have Sunfire Cape. Sunfire is just really good in any comp that stays alive for a long time and that has a lot of HP, Bastion Bruisers. It's just gonna burn the enemies for a long time. It's really good in early game as well. The same goes for Spark. It's just gonna shock the enemies, dealing a damage. And it's also really good because it removes their MR, and most of your damage is AP damage from Cho and Cassiopeia. It's also important what unit you put the Sunfire and Spark on, because you want the unit to stay alive for a really long time. So either you put it on Renekton or Vi if you have them 3-starred. That's a key point. And then you want them next to Cho'Gath so they don't die first, so they stay alive, and they also get the redemption healing from Cho. But if you don't 3-star them, you wanna put the item on either a 2-star Sejuani or, you know, a Scion, because they're just gonna stay alive for a long time. Other than that, we have Rek'Sai. I usually itemize him. If you can get itemized Rek'Sai and get him 3-starred, you basically get a first place secured. So the items on him, you can build a lot of different ones. You can go Thieves Gloves, you can go Infinite Edge, Hodge. Pretty much any item is good. Night Harvester. But the best items, it's the Bloodthirster and Starax, because they both scale with HP and you get a lot of HP since you're playing 6 Bruisers. Bloodthirster gives you a HP based shield, and Starax gives you more HP or something like that. And Titan's Resolve is also the third item that's best in my opinion. You just get a lot of armor, magic resist that scales up really well with your HP, as well as getting some nice damage AD, of course. So that's pretty much all the items I build on the normal comp. The only exception is in some games I don't... Maybe I'm contested in this comp and there's some Noxus players and everyone is just playing Cassiopeia. Of course, I'm not gonna roll for the 3-star in some cases then. So what I've gone for, it's Kayle instead of a Cassio carry, which is honestly, it's not bad. Basically what Kayle does is she just scales up her attack speed to infinite. So there's only really one item you build on Kayle, and that's Ginso Gunblade, really. Because yeah, I don't know, she just works really well with Ginso. You can build other items on her, it's not the end of the world, but it just works really good with Ginso, because you have 6 Bruisers in the front line, you're staying alive forever, and she's just gonna stack the Ginso until she has 5 attack speed and just go crazy. So honestly, In my opinion, the best build on Kale is just 2 Ginsos and call it a day. And then you throw in a random Giant Slayer or something. But that's pretty much it for the main of the comp. Let's say in some special cases. In the late game, you either throw in a Kaisa, a Belveth, or a Heimerdinger. So if you go for the Belveth, it's really good to give her RFC or any other AD items you can get, really. But RFC is best, so she stands in the back and attacks everyone. Other than that, her best item is Bloodthirster, because she gets a HP shield. Or it's... yeah. Because when she kills units in her ulti or whatever, she gets more HP. So it's kind of like Rexa, right? And if you have a Bruiser emblem, you should always put it on the Belveth if you have the chance. Because she's a frontline unit, kinda. And Heimer, it's really only 2 items that are good on him. Yeah, it's pretty funny, but in some games I played the Heimer. I gave him the free refractor turret. And I just give him a Ginso and Archangel. And that turret, it did the most damage out of everyone. It's actually not even bad. So the turret, it scales with Heimer's attack speed and his AP. So he can do some crazy stuff there. And Kaisa, you itemize her. I like Archangels. It's the same as again, so you stack it up over the fight because you have Bruisers, so she stays alive for a long time. And then you Sojin and some other AP item. So now I'm going to go into some more rare cases of items that you build, but still good to know, right? So let's go into the Explorer tab on Cho'Gath, and you will see that there's some items that are pretty good on him, right? So Dragon's Will, yeah, that's just cracked. So basically what it does is it gives him 130% magic resist, which is pretty good, right? But other than that, every 2 seconds he gets a 10% max HP heal, and the Cho'Gath just gets so much HP, so it scales really good on him. So if you have, you know, a Radiant item, try to go for this one. You will not regret it. Other than that, the Redemption one is really good as well. He gets a lot of healing. I think it's like 25% missing health. So it's Dragon Will, then it's Absolution. And that's pretty much it for the Radiant items that you want to go for. Other than that, you have the Ornn item. I've tried to play the Ornn item that it slows the enemies, and it was not that good. It's more of a like support tank item, so I wouldn't recommend that. The only Ornn item I would go on Cho'Gath, really, it's the Anima Visage, because it works well with HP. You heal 2.5 max HP every second, so that's not bad, right? And if we take a look at the support items here, there's really only 2 good ones. The rest are kinda meh. For instance, Caesarot is just trash. You already have so much frontline. It doesn't make sense to get a Caesarot, no value. And yeah, so the 2 good ones is Virtue of Martyr, just HP, you know, scaling heal. It's really good. You put it on the unit that's next to Cho'Gath, so it dies second to last of the front line. So when the holder dies, the healing increases to 30% max health. So in the beginning of the fight, it has normal healing, and when the unit next to Cho'Gath dies, it just increases healing to 13%, so Cho'Gath gets that healing in the end. So you just maximize the healing from it, because the increased healing, it only lasts for 10 seconds, right? Then it's gone. Other than that, the second best one is Needlessly Big Gem. It's really good. It's like a free ascension. And since you're a bruiser, you're really tanky, you're staying alive for a long time. You're gonna proc it more often than not, right? And you also get the gold for every living allies. The rest of the items are really meh. So yeah, let's talk about the units. So you always want 6 bruisers. The carries are either Kale or you go for Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia is a bit better, but if you don't hit her or you magically get a lot of Kales, it's not bad, right? Because you get Slayer from Kale as well, so then you can just carry Rek'Sai and Kale, and pretty good stuff. You always try to reroll for your units. After that you level up, and once you have put in these units right, then it's really just to maybe fit in a void unit. So that's either you get a Kaisa. She's a good unit, right? And you just get the void in as a bonus. Or even better, if you find a Belvep, that's really good. And right now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units. So it's pretty unlikely that you're gonna get to level 9. But I have done that in some games. So I figured I might as well show you what's the highest cap board, pretty much. So if you get 9, honestly I would just throw in a Heimer, and depending on, you know, if you have anti-heal or not, you take the burn one. But honestly I think this is not even bad. It sounds pretty weird, but if you can get 3 refractor beam on a Heimerdinger, and then you just throw in a Ginso, this is so fun, and it's pretty good, honestly. It will do a lot of damage, just constantly shooting. Because the turret, it gets the attack speed that Heimerdinger has, and you have so much frontline, so it's just gonna stack infinite. And that's pretty much it for the comp. It's not complicated at all. You don't have to play Heimer or Belvep if you don't hit it. I like having the void unit, so if you want, you can go for a Rise if you play Cassiopeia. Then you get the Invoker, and the Rise is a pretty good unit depending on what region it is. I have also played games where I threw in Aatrox. You get the Slayer, a broken unit. It's not really that picky, right? But other than that, in many cases where I'm just trying to save Econ, let's say for instance I just have 2 Rek'Sais, I play that temporarily. I will show you that when I go through the whole game. I think what's worth mentioning is if you get a Spatula, it's kinda awkward, right? Because you can't really build a Bruiser emblem, you can't build a Void emblem, so it's kinda cringe. So what you do then is really the only option I can think of, and what I have done is I go for Shurima on Rek'Sai. And since you have Cassio, Renekton, now you're at 3 Shurima, so then you wanna put in an Azir perhaps. Or maybe you go for a Nasus with a Bruiser emblem, but it's probably gonna be Azir otherwise. So then you are at 4 Shurima, which is pretty good. Everyone ascends. Maybe you have a 3-star Renekton, you have 3-star Cassio, and if you itemize Rek'Sai as well, maybe 3-star him, he's gonna become a monster as well. So I figured it's worth mentioning because you're gonna get that game where you get a Spatula and you wanna do something with it, so then you just go for a Shurima board instead. Or as well. So let's talk a bit about the positioning as well. It's pretty easy in this comp, not that much to do, but what you wanna do in the early game is use Scout on which side the most people have their weakest unit, and then you place Cassiopeia and Cho'Gath accordingly. So let's say they have their weak unit here. You just put the units like this, and put Renekton to the right, so he ultis more people and he tanks a bit, so Cho'Gath stays alive and can stack. But what's the important thing is that everyone attacks one unit, so you save HP, because you're probably not gonna win streak that often. You can in some cases, but in the cases where you can't win streak, you just try to save HP like this. But in the late game, then you wanna put Cho'Gath in the middle. And then we just put in all our Bruiser units. So you want Sejuani next to Cho'Gath, because Sejuani has a AoE ulti, so you want that to hit as many people as possible. And then you put a strong frontline unit in front of Rek'Sai, so they stay alive for a long time. Because you want Rek'Sai to stay alive for a long time, so he dishes out a lot of damage. So if you have a 3-star Vi, put her in front of Rek'Sai so she stays alive for some while. And you also want, you know, the units that's pretty, or the frontline units that's safe in the middle to have the units or the items Sunfire and Spark. If you have those items, then you put it on the units that's next to Cho'Gath, so you get the... So it procs on as many people as possible, and so they keep the effect as long as possible. Also, then you shred and sunder the units that Cho'Gath ulti, so it does a lot more damage. So then you also want Cassiopeia on the same side, so you get that... what's it called? Is it... Yeah, it's shred. Yeah, so you get the shred, so you do more AP damage. And that's pretty much it for positioning, really. This is how I do it. A little bonus tip for you guys is pay attention to where you put your Cho'Gath in the minion rounds. What I usually do is I remove my carries and I put in another Bruiser unit temporarily, just so they don't kill the minions and all of that. And if it's like wolves or not wolves, or if it's the small chickens or whatever they are, I just put Cho'Gath here so the units attack him, so he gets mana, so he ultis them and he gets more stacks. And if it's the wolf, I do the opposite, so I put everyone up here, because the wolves, they jump down, and then I just put Cho'Gath in the middle. He gets mana from them attacking him, and they ulti them, and he gets more stacks, HP. So it's a little min-max that you can do to give him more stacks and more HP and all of that. But that's pretty much it for positioning there now. So let's talk a bit about Econ, leveling, all of that shenanigans. So this comp is pretty much a slow roll comp. You save up a lot of gold, you stay as low level as possible, and then you roll a bit for 3 stars. So what units do you want to 3-star primarily? You want to 3-star Cho'Gath always, and your backline carry, so Cassiopeia. And since Renekton is also a 1 cost that you play, if you hit him, you hit him right, so it's always nice to get this. In most of my games as well, I've just by chance I've just hit a 3-star Vi, so don't be shy to hold her in most situations. And once you have hit the 3-star Cho'Gath and Cassiopeia, then you start pushing levels to get in as many Bruiser units as possible. Then there's really no reason to roll, unless you're in a spot where you wanna carry Rek'Sai, then you roll at like 7 or 6, something like that. And then the game is pretty much over, right? Then you start playing economy and, you know, staying 50 gold and leveling up. Yeah, that's pretty much it. One thing to keep note of is if you're contested, right? Just scout the lobby to see how many people are playing Cho'Gath. Then you shouldn't roll to like 0 perhaps, because if you don't hit and then you just lose the game. But you can roll a bit more sometimes to try to hit some Cho'Gaths. Like, you don't want to be in that spot where everyone else just hit their 3-star Cho'Gaths and there you are with a 2-star, and so many cops are out of the pool, you know. So just be aware of that to roll down a bit before they do. And also be aware if they're playing Cassiopeia, maybe you go for Kayle instead. If Cassio is really contested. It's a pretty popular unit. It plays in a lot of comps, right? Then you can just go for a Kayle carry and you just hit it 3-star for free, right? I'll figure I show you guys a full game example of how I play the comp as well. So there's no fights and not any of that. So I've cut out all the unimportant stuff and only left the items, units, carousels, augments, and those parts of the game. So we're kicking it off here with Pandora's items, as I always take. Unless I get some really good augment like endurance, training, or something like that, titanic strength. So now we're just gonna reroll for Bramble Vest, Redemption, and Declaw. We're gonna hold this this armor item so we get Bramble, and there you go. Next turn we rolled another one, so we got a Bramble Vest right there. I was wondering if I should take a belt there, but I decided to go for the 2-cost unit instead of the 3-cost, just so we can hold on to that, you know, Declaw component. And we also got a Radiant item there. The best one is the Radiant Declaw, but the Redemption one is fine as well. Gives us HP scaling. So there's no guarantee that we're gonna get the Declaw, so I decided to just go for the Redemption. It's not bad, right? So I did one mistake here. What I should have done is, when I 3-star Cho'Gath, I put a Declaw on one of his copies. So then I get a Declaw, Bramble, and Redemption. But I didn't think of that, so I just built a Sunfire Cape on Cho'Gath instead. So that was a bit of a mistake, which we can learn from here. And in this game, you see a lot of people are playing Cassiopeia. So I'm just holding a Kayle instead. So I really just want the Ginsos on the Kayle. We're also just holding all Bruiser units, because 3-stars are pretty nice, right? Here we got some pretty meh augment, so I'm just gonna take Cybernetic Bulk. It works with the Bruisers, so why not, right? And we just keep on rolling until we hit our units. We're pretty stable, so we don't have to force roll, but I can roll down a bit here just to get my 2-stars. If you're in a win streak scenario, you should always try to roll for 2-stars, because then you're stable and you keep the win streak, so you actually end up gaining gold from rolling, if that makes sense. A low min-max I'm doing is I'm just holding other 1-cost units, so I have a higher chance of hitting my units. Really not a big diff, but something I just like doing. There we have the 3-star Cho'Gath. It's not harder than that, really. So now I'm putting my Cho'Gath in the back, so the wolves attack him, so he will ulti the wolves and get more stacks. Boom, that's 30 HP or 45 HP right there. Not bad. Now I'm gonna hold some Rek'Sai items. Bloodthirster, boom, I like that. Also one component for Styrax. And here I decided just to go for the Sunfire. Pretty meh item on show, but a Sunfire is a Sunfire, right? Boom, there we go with the Bloodthirster on him. Gonna give him a nice HP scaling shield. Here I took the support item augment and we got it. We got the Virtue of the Marcher. That's just so huge. Gonna get a lot of HP scaling. We're gonna be so tanky. Always. Also, it gives me some cybernetic bulk value to put on Vi, so she gets more HP. There we also got the Styrax. Really good stuff right there. And I'm just gonna roll down here until I get my 3-star Kayle. Boom, there we go. So now I don't have to roll. We're not gonna roll for Renekton, just not worth it. We're just gonna go to level up units instead. So I'm gonna show you one fight here because I just want to show you how strong the comp is. You see I'm demolishing people. And Cho'Gath is not getting stacks unfortunately, but we're winning, so that's all that matters. Here, this is really huge for me. I get the Belveth. It's really hard to get a Belveth because I'm so low level. So getting a Belveth on that carousel is so huge. So we're just gonna play her for one void, and she's just a good unit. And in case we can't 3-star Rek'Sai, what we do is we just sell Rek'Sai and we put his items onto Belveth instead. So it's a nice backup plan there as well. So I didn't really get any good item, so I'm just gonna reroll the item. So I just take it so it gets to the bench and it gets rerolled. I already have everything I want, so I'm just gonna level up here. So I'm a bit unsure in this spot what I should do. I don't know if it's actually better to roll for a 3-star Rek'Sai or if it's better to go for level 9. I think it's safer to go for level 9 because you can't, or if you roll you have a chance of not hitting, and that's awful, right? Meanwhile, you always hit XP when you level up, right? So we're just gonna go for the level up strat, and if we find the Rek'Sai later, it's nice. If we don't hit it, we just put him on his items on either Aatrox or on Belveth. So I think that's the safer option. But I don't know, maybe it is level up or reroll instead. I don't know. A 2-star Sedge, pretty good. So what I could do here is I roll for, you know, a Scion, but it's only 4% chance. I have so much gold, HP, so I rather use the slow roll here, and now we're gonna level up and just get that Scion. There's no way we don't hit Scion now, right? There we go. So now we have 6 Bruisers. We just need to put in that Renekton, and boom, there we have it, guys. So I just wonder how much HP the Cho'Gath really has. Kind of a shame that I didn't check it there, but it's all good. Just gonna take a 3rd item on Belveth. Ooh, I don't know if I should have put the Gunblade on Kayle. Maybe she does more damage, so she heals more. I don't know, but I feel like Gunblade is better on Belveth because... Or actually, she already has healing. Who cares? And here we found Aatrox, so don't mind if I do. Just gonna play him because he's a really strong unit. So now we're just really rolling for the Rek'Sai 3-star to 2-star my Belveth as well as Scion, and that's basically our comp, right? So let's see, do we hit anything here? Doesn't seem like it. Ooh, there we go. Never mind. Take it back. So now we only have a Belveth left here. And let's also open this... Well, I just realized this like the last round. We're never gonna hit the Rek'Sai at this point. So we're just gonna sell him and we're gonna put items on Aatrox. Because Aatrox is just a better unit. So that's really good that we held another copy of Rek'Sai there. So we could make that switch. And yeah, that's pretty much how I play the comp. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, if I helped you learn anything, be sure to subscribe. Took a lot of effort to make this video. But other than that, have a great one, everybody. Peace out.